Ambassador of Poland in Ankara, His Excellency Mr. Jakub Kumo, Deputy Head of Mission at Turkish Embassy in Warsaw, Mr. Hakan Abacı, Chairperson of Polish Chamber of Commerce, Poland-Turkey Business Council, Mr. Dariusz Oleszczuk, dear panelists and participants. I would like to welcome you to our webinar, where we will discuss the cooperation opportunities in automotive industries of Turkey and Poland. As the Turkey-Poland Business Council, we believe these kind of target-oriented sectoral events are very valuable activities to increase the trade and cooperation between two countries. They enable us to understand the potential of the countries and establish relations between companies from the same industry. Today we have very important speakers and participants, and I wish this webinar initiates business collaboration between some of the companies who attend. Poland is one of the most important trade partners of Turkey. Turkey's export to Poland is 3.5 billion US dollars and import from Poland is 3 billion US dollars. Although the bilateral trade volume exceeds 6.5 billion US dollars, the potential, I believe, is far more than this. Poland used the advantage of EU membership, its competitive labor force, and its geographical location very well. It's a bridge between Eastern and Western Europe and neighbor to Europe's biggest economy, Germany. After being a member to EU in 2004, Poland achieved an amazing annual growth rate around 5% for many consecutive years. This enabled Poland to be the first country among the former Eastern Bloc that moved from emerging to developed countries league. Poland is now the 10th biggest economy in Europe and 21st in the world. Poland is obviously a very big market, as we see from the figures on its own, but it is more than this. It offers more than this. It's a door that's opening to Baltic countries and Western Europe. Therefore, besides focusing only on export opportunities, at the same time, investment opportunities should be also investigated with an open mind when Poland is considered. As an example, Ford Otosan is one of the companies that realized this potential. It utilizes Poland as a hub for its truck business in Baltic countries. On the other hand, it also distributes the truck spare parts to all over Europe, through its European warehouse, which is located in Poland. Turkey and Poland have similar economic structures. Automotive main and supply industry is the locomotive for both economies, with the global scale production and export-oriented business model of the companies. Automotive industry is 17% of Turkey's export with 30 billion US dollars and 13% of Poland's export with 35 billion US dollars. The split of automotive industry export is different in both countries. In Turkey, 60% is from the main industry, while in Poland, 60% is from the supply industry. This complementary structure can create business opportunities between the companies of automotive industry. The trade of Turkey and Poland mainly takes place between large enterprises and international companies. This trade has to be enriched with a wider perspective by spreading it into the SMEs. Besides the automotive main industry, both countries have also leading manufacturers in the fields of parts, bus, trailer, and superstructure production. These companies can further improve their competitive advantage with the collaborations in these fields very easily. Another collaboration area can be new technologies such as electric vehicles, autonomous driving technologies, and smart mobility. Automotive supply industry companies can work together to develop new technologies, and in this way, they can reduce investment costs and project development timings significantly. I wholeheartedly believe that Turkey and Poland have many cooperation opportunities in automotive industry. The important thing is get to know each other, not only on the basis of macroeconomics, but also in the details of companies. And of course, guiding these acquaintances patiently to result with a win-win perspective. As Henry Ford said in his famous quote, "Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success." Today we are making the beginning, and I'm sure we will reach success in the future. Thank you very much for listening. Now, I am giving the stage to Mr. Dariusz Oleszczuk, who is the chairperson of Polish Chamber of Commerce, Poland-Turkey Business Council. Mr. Oleszczuk, stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Emrah. I would like to start with the greeting. Good afternoon for our Turkish participants. Good morning still for our Polish participants. As Emrah has already welcomed some of the most important participants of our webinar today, I wanted to introduce maybe some people on the Polish side. In particular, His Excellency Jakub Kumoch, Ambassador of the Polish Republic to Turkey, has been already welcomed. Welcome again. But I would like also to welcome the Director of the International Department of the Polish Chamber of Commerce, who is one of the two organizers of this event, Ambassador Jerzy Droszcz, as well as Marek Nowakowski, the Chairman of the Polish-Turkish Chamber of Commerce in Poland, in Warsaw. Also, I would like to welcome two Polish keynote speakers, Mr. Janusz Kobus, Vice President of the Polish Chamber of the Automotive Industry, and Mr. Bartosz Mielecki, Managing Director of the Polish Automotive Group. And finally, also Mr. Michał Wiśniewski, the advisor of the management board of Ursus SA and Polmont Holding SA, who will be making presentation during the sectoral outlook session. I would like also to inform that we have up to almost 50 participants from various businesses on the Polish side, and these are the important participants for us, as this meeting is organized for them. As a reminder, following our official opening, there will be a set of B2B meetings between Polish and Turkish enterprises. And as Ermak said, we're hoping that some relationship could be formed during these introductory meetings. In closing remarks, I wanted to say that this is the first of the, we call it Interconnected Business Series, organized by the Polish Turkish Business Council at the Polish Chamber of Commerce and the Turkish Polish Business Council at the DEİK. We decided to pick up the automotive sector to be the first one of the series. As Emrah mentioned, this is a quite significant field of our potential cooperation, and automotive sector is an important part of the Polish business economy. I don't want to prolong, as we are already a bit behind the schedule. So that's, again, welcome to every participant, and I'm giving back the floor to Emrah to introduce the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dariusz. Now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Hakan Abacı, Deputy Head of Mission, Turkish Embassy in Warsaw. Mr. Abacı, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Distinguished Chairman of the Mr. Nail Opak, distinguished Chairpersons of Poland Business Council, Mr. Dariusz Oleszczuk and Mr. Emrah Duman, Ambassador, distinguished speakers, representatives, industry participants, and guests. Allow me to send you my best wishes from beautiful and loving Warsaw, a capital of growing importance, not only for its own country, Poland, but also for the whole region. I would also like to congratulate our Polish friends on their very meaningful constitution next Monday, May the 3rd. It has been a long winter season here, and we have passed through challenging times fighting against COVID pandemic. Many lives have been lost, despite the heroic efforts of health services. I would like to respectfully commemorate all those losses of life and pay tribute to the health personnel for their efforts. Poland is starting to ease the restrictions next week, and Turkey will hopefully follow soon. I am happy to note that Poland and Turkey have collaborated very well from the beginning and joined their forces in this turbulent time. When we have shared our concerns and conveyed our requests to our Polish counterparts, we have always found a sympathetic ear to overcome difficulties. I hope that our Polish colleagues could say the same for their interlocutors in Turkey. This is, in a way, very natural, because we rely on deep-rooted relations between Turkey and Poland, the history of friendship back more than 600 years. Our political relations are excellent, and our economic relations have been on a steady rising trend and presently keep on thriving. If we have a quick look at our trade patterns, Turkey and Poland produce and export in similar sectors to a large extent. The main items of our exports to Poland are textiles, ready-made clothing, motor vehicles, machinery and devices, fruits, vegetables, jewelry, tobacco, etc. And our main import items are motor vehicles, again, machinery, chemicals, cosmetics, furniture, food items. This trade structure can be explained by the supply of finished and semi-finished products, especially automotive industry products from Poland, which Turkey needs as a result of foreign capital investments, mainly originating from the EU and other developing countries. The trade balance was to the favor of Poland since Poland's EU membership in 2004. And as of 2019, it has turned to our favor, continuing in 2020 and 2021. But this has been largely a balanced trade over the years. Our trade volume reached 6.2 billion euros in 2020. In this sense, the past year of pandemic has pleasantly surprised us. Both export and import volumes, despite the adverse impacts of COVID-19 pandemic over the global economies, have seen an increase, and this continuing in the first months of 2021. There is every reason to think that economic recovery is underway, and much talked about regionalization is possibly already happening. As the two prominent countries in the north-south axis of Eastern Europe, Turkey and Poland have significant advantages to deepen regional economic ties, to expand transport connections, and exploit mutual advantages to the full within this region and beyond. I would like to comment here, especially our automotive sectors. They are the flagships of our industrial cooperation. We cannot really exaggerate their importance. They keep the top place of both countries exporting and importing items. Besides, interestingly, the exports of both countries in this sector is complementary rather than substitutive. Thus, mutual economic sector exports positively contribute to the economies of both. Understandably, this is where rapid changes are happening. New technologies and necessities of green transformation force all the sectors and actors to adapt and transform. I am sure that a lot has been happening in terms of not only trade, but also mutual investments. We encourage our entrepreneurs, especially to invest mutually for the future of our countries. We are here to support you. Concluding my words, I thank you for your attention. Wish you all best of success. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your speech, Mr. Abacı. You also highlighted, although the industry seems we are exporting the same products, but when you deep dive, it is complementary to each other, and collaboration between the companies is a very big opportunity. So thank you very much. It was good to hear this from you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Now, I would like to leave the stage to Mr. Jakub Moh, Ambassador of Polish Embassy in Ankara. His Excellency, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, first of all, for invitation and for organizing this event. I extend my gratitude to all members of Foreign Economic Relations Board. You know, it is always a great pleasure for me to speak at events organized by the Polish Chamber of Commerce and the Foreign Economic Relations Board. Well, I think that today's meeting is also particularly important for us, just as the automotive sector is, as other interlocutors highlighted, is important for both Polish and Turkish economy. Well, first of all, let me congratulate Turkey. The Turkish economy did well during the pandemic, very well. The Polish economy also survived this difficult time much better than expected and better than many other European countries. Well, additionally, year 2020 brought further increases in Polish-Turkish trade, as it was highlighted too. For many years, Turkey is for Poland the first business partner in the Eastern Mediterranean and the whole region. Well, according to our data, in fact, which has been already mentioned several times, yes, our mutual trade amounted to 6.2 billion euros. Is it a lot? Is it much? Should it be improved? Of course, there is always place for improvement. I always point that this number should be at least doubled. We have great potential for cooperation, and of course, we should use it. The numbers do not lie and clearly indicate that it is the automotive sector, indeed, that drives trade between our countries, one of the pillars. According to our analysis, the Polish sector with the greatest export potential in Turkey is precisely the automotive industry. Production of engines, passenger cars, trucks and their parts, as well as parts for transmitting devices. Poles in the automotive sector have already invested in Turkey. I can name many enterprises, but in order to be more impartial and more observing than commenting, I would like to just to emphasize that this is a big part of our investments, and this is also a part of Turkish investments in Poland. I would like to emphasize that both countries, Poland and Turkey, are excellent destinations for investment and business development. And this is confirmed by numerous studies conducted both globally and nationally. Poland occupies the leading position in the rankings of investments attractiveness in Europe and in the world. Turkey is also one of the leaders of those statistics. So we are talking about two countries who can offer each other a lot. I will also once again repeat that in the area of investments, we are interested in attracting to our country, to Poland, companies with high intellectual capital and modern technologies. Over the next 5 years, Poland will allocate over 10 billion euros to non-returnable grants for Polish and foreign entrepreneurs for the creation of R&D centers and conducting research and development works in our country. An important tool for attracting R&D investments is also a strategy for responsible development. Poland supports foreign investments through a wide range of investment incentives, including instruments co-financed from the European funds, including tax breaks under the Polish investment zone or the innovation box. At the end, I would like to add that besides the business investments, besides all this final product, we may say, there's another intellectual exchange between our countries. Poland is very often the first choice for Turkish students and Erasmus participants. It will bring a lot of benefits in the years to come. In the same time, Turkey has been the first destination for Polish tourists, which also creates personal links between our countries. It's been there for several years, and I hope this year will be good for the sector, for both tourist sectors in both countries. It is also worth adding that both our countries are characterized by openness and kindness, both in life and in business. That's why I see that our Turkish-Polish business future is really very promising. Despite the difficult time, of course, of the pandemic, despite the heavy losses in both countries, and the difficult economic situation, still much worse than we predicted before the pandemic. No one could have predicted what would happen in 2020. Despite this time in which we find ourselves, I believe that both our countries will come out unscathed, stronger, and even more determined to develop their economies. This is also an opportunity for us. I can also assure that both my teams in Ankara and in Istanbul are putting the greatest efforts in order to support Polish-Turkish business activities. Please have in mind that we are always ready for cooperation and open for meetings, for discussion. Our doors are open for you. Having said that, I wish you a fruitful and encouraging discussion. And once again, thank you for organizing this meeting and for having invited me.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for joining us for this event. Our participants greatly appreciate your time, and we are grateful for the comments you've made. Emrah, I would like you to give you a chance to introduce the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Mr. Albert Saydam, President of TAYSAT. TAYSAT is the Automotive Supplier Association of Turkey. And Albert Bey is the, I think, best person who knows the supplier side of the automotive industry. So, Mr. Saydam, stage is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Duman. Let me... Okay. I hope you can see my presentation. Let me reconfirm.
Yes, we see it very well.
Okay. Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Abacı, Chair people, Mr. Duman, thank you for the invitation. And I would like to seize the opportunity to explain the supplier side of the Turkish automotive industry. Coming to that point, first, I just want to inform you briefly about the Turkish vehicle production, which is, of course, deeply the majority of the, almost, as Mr. Duman said, 60% of the production of automotive, and almost 55% of the automotive exports. We have right now 14 brands, and in Turkey, manufacturing cars, light commercial vehicles, trucks and buses. And I think for commercial vehicles, bus and trucks, we are in top 3 in Europe's production. There are 3 latest investments declared or informed or announced. One of them is a new electrical SUV, TOG, which will be on the road in 2022, I think. And Toyota has already informed a new investment for additional almost 3,000 workers within 2 years. And last but not least, Ford Otosan has recently informed a new plant or a new investment that will also enable to enlarge the the staff by at least 2,500 at their plant. That means an additional 15,000 new let's say positions in Turkish automotive industry. TAYSAT is the Automotive Supplier Association in Turkey, and we can manufacture almost 8% of the vehicle currently. And I have to underline, unfortunately, that percentage is valid for right now for the conventional type of vehicles. We have 467 members, and our annual sales are around 20 billion euros, and more or less 50% is we are exporting. We are a member of CLEPA, a European Association of Automotive Suppliers, and we are the only Silver Cluster Management Excellence Prize having organization in automotive industry in Europe and in Turkey. TISAT members are quite, differentiated. We have not only Turkish entrepreneurs, we have joint ventures, we have foreign direct investments, and Mr. Duman has already mentioned that the experience of or the history of Turkish automotive industry goes back actually maybe to 1920s when the first Ford plant was in operation for 10 or 15 years. But we can say, but the supply industry has also followed that history. The average, almost more than 50% of our members have a company history more than 30 years. As the vehicle production or vehicle industry's performance, the supplier exports are also mainly to Europe. But we have a smaller percentage, I think, for vehicle export, it's more or less 80% to Europe. In a supplier sector, we are more or less 60% and diversified to other parts of the world by 40%. That's where the TISAT members are located. That's, a kind of old map, but the numbers are growing. Right now, what we are, let's say, prioritizing is more to change this map. As you can see, Turkish TISAT members are active also in different countries, in different continents. We have around, our members have around 160 investments, including engineering offices, warehouses, and of course, production plants. I think we, as far as I know, 2 of our members are also active in Poland. One of them is one of the speakers of today, Norm Holding, and the other one is Ulus Metal. As all, more or less this slide is valid for all NGOs, what we are doing. So I will split that one. Abbreviations are very common in automotive industry. We are using different abbreviations like PPAP, PPM, and the last and most trendy abbreviation that we are using is defining the trends nowadays: CASE, connectivity, autonomous driving, sharing, and electrification. Now, talking about the abbreviation, each, TISAT always tries to find a motto which resembles or which identifies or makes the strategy clear. This year's motto is SES, Smart, Environmental, and Sustainable. The Turkish participants will recognize the abbreviation of these 3 words is a Turkish word for voice, sound. That's how we want to increase our voice and make our partners hear our voice globally by being smart and providing environmental and sustainable solutions. Now, what does smart mean from the perspective of Turkish and Polish automotive sector? Both countries are big and have big economy, but other than this, and they have their own potential. Other than this, for Turkish automotive suppliers, Poland can be a kind of hub for third countries, and that's how they can seek the opportunities. It's also valid the other way around. For Polish countries, Turkey can be hub for Balkans, Middle East, and the hinterland of Turkish Republic. Now, everything comes in 3, or good things come in 3. So that's, we have to change, we have to make a change in order to reach 3 billion euro trade. Now, for I'm only referring to the automotive. That means vehicle production plus supplier exports. Nowadays, it's more or less, I think, between 1.2, 1.3 billion euros. But if we meet the necessary actions, it's very easy to reach 3 billion euro trade. And as Mr. Duman has referred to Henry Ford's quote, I mean, I think we have come together and we are kept together for a long time. I mean, we have historical relations. I will not go back to this, but now it's time to work together in order to reach success. Now, as I said, everything comes in three, and even in our strategy, there are 3 letters. And we may come up, for example, I have seen that there are very distinguished members of some NGOs in Poland, and we may come up together with TISAT and with these NGOs with a CR or with a corporate social responsibility project. Why not? So I will continue with my proposal. You can change the name. I mean, we can exchange stuff between Polish and Turkish automotive companies. What I have in my mind, I just wanted to focus to new things other than talking about settling warehouses in both countries, etc. And I just want to use this opportunity to encourage my counterparts, the other chair people of the NGOs. We can exchange stuff between 2 companies. Imagine 3 days for let's say 3 days a week, they are working for the company as a trainee, for example, Polish staff in Turkey, but the other 2 days, he or she can make research for his or her company in Poland. And that's how we can bundle, or we can bridge 2 countries, let's say companies together. It's not difficult, especially in the times of COVID, but this will be also over. So if we just work together, how this can work on the table, then we can react very quick, or we can act very quickly and proceed with that, let's say, project. I mean, Mr. Duma, I mean, most of the participants of today's session are from automotive. That's how the automotive industry works. I mean, instead of words, we just want, we are eager to act as soon as possible. I mean, it doesn't need to be the name Xtop A. It can be also Xpot A, but please pay attention, there are other companies called Xpot. So the name is not important, but if we come together and sit together, I think we can work together in order to achieve success together. Thank you very much. And I wish the other part of the session will be a successful one.
Albert Bey, thank you very much for your speech, and especially for your very smart proposal. When I was hearing you, I first remembered, and with the old, let's say, way of thinking, I said, how come this can be done in this environment? But you said that nowadays everybody is working from distance, so it is very doable, and it's a very good proposal to investigate. We have to deep dive into it in the upcoming days with TISAT's Polish counterpart. We will ask the help of Dariusz and his colleagues to establish such a link. And before going to the next speaker, I hope during your presidency we managed to gain some Polish companies as member of Polish investors, as member of TISAT. So we invite also Polish suppliers to invest in Turkey and become a member of TISAT. So Dariusz, now can you announce our next speaker, please?
Thank you, Emrah. Again, thank you very much, Mr. Abaci, for the very interesting presentation. We greatly appreciate it. I would like now to introduce Mr. Janusz Kobus, the Vice President of the Polish Chamber of the Automotive Industry in Poland, and ask him for making the presentation. Mr. Kobus, proszę.
Good afternoon to everybody. I hope everybody can hear me. Let's try to share the screen. Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so let's go. So I'm Vice-President of the Polish Chamber for Automotive Industry. Just due to the time, let's go quickly. A few words about the Chamber. We are 27 years old, established in 1994. In practice, we are bringing together different representatives of automotive sector, almost 200 members, but we cooperate with other players also. So roughly with 400 companies in automotive sectors. And then also, in fact, the members are some companies or associations, so some experts in automotive industry associations, so quite broadly understood automotive sector. And additionally, we have one sections which the members are car dealers and workshops. Also, Chamber work closely as typical NGO with the government and ministries. We are also a member of KIK, so for the Polish Chamber of Commerce. We cooperate quite heavily, to be honest, with Polish Investment and Trade Agency, with Polish Agency for Enterprise Development, or Polish National Center for Research and Development. Probably you don't know how it works in Poland, but there is some allocations of different funding, and we have to cooperate with different agencies of the Polish government. Of course, we were on the behalf of the Polish government also supporting and taking part in the European Commission projects. There were many in the past, as probably you know. For sure, TISAT now, CARS 21, CARS 2020, Year 2030, now Skills for Industry, and so on. Additionally, there will be separate lines. We cooperate with Warsaw School for Economics, which is #1 university in economy in Poland, with other activities, of course, also connected to the automotive, like Lean and so on. And of course, quite cooperation and relationship with all special economic zones in Poland. Additionally, we also keep cooperation with different associations. If you're in Poland, you will see the presentation of PGM, but also we cooperate with Polish ACEA and then Polish employer associations for automotive sector. A difficult name for you, but you can find out that later. So what we are doing, of course, we are lobbying on behalf of the Polish automotive players, commenting the draft of laws and regulations, organizing exhibitions or promoting the alternative fuel systems and so on. Also, we are choosing the best automotive investment and best automotive manager of the year. Partly also we are all typically invited, and in fact we are a member of Inomoto. I am the chairman of that. This is the project which is Polish NCBR, which is R&D agency about the financing of the automotive sector. In fact, it was allocated 80 million euro for that project so far. Now quite popular investments are, or let's say support from European Union can be for competences and skills. So we are now preparing and then leading the project for Council for Competences in Automotive Sector. And then as TISAT, we are also organizing the auto event. You can see a few slides about that. So postgraduate studies in the, let's say with SGH, which is the Polish University for Economics. We have more than 500 now graduates from that activity every year for many years. It's mainly for engineers to study economy, just to be better to do the business. Then we are organizing auto event since 2005. Unfortunately, 2020 we have to cancel due to the pandemic. Typically, when you see for example, the data for 2019, roughly 350 participants, plenty of B2b meetings, because typically participants are utilizing the time when they are together to have more effective way to meet each other and have some negotiations. And some of them are also making exhibition books. So it's quite excellent conference. In fact, this is the largest conference in Poland and Central Eastern Europe. Many B2B meetings took place always, and will take. It's quite, let's say, attractive during the conference to have it. And then, of course, we are choosing the manager of the year and investment of the year, and then announcing that during the official gala dinners. This is the 2019 due to the fact that 2020 was cancelled. It's not easy to choose who is the best or who is the champion. You can see the map of Poland with different automotive players there. Domestic or foreign, doesn't matter, but you can see many famous brands and so on. Everybody was investing, developing, doing some R&D and so on. So in practice, it's not easy choice. Then a few data about the vehicles production in Central Eastern Europe and Poland, just to see where Poland is in that, let's say, region. In fact, with production of vehicles, Poland is not very strong. It's number 3 in that region. So Czech and Slovakia are bigger. Question is why? Probably the government was less supporting this kind of investment, and vehicle manufacturers were typically asking for huge support or money. So in practice, when you see the trend, the Poland car production is down in last 10 years, I would say, but Poland is growing with manufacturing of vans. Volkswagen make a big investment. In fact, now also the Gliwice plant, which is old Opel plant making the cars, Opel Astra still, soon we will be moved to manufacture vans inside the PSA group. The decision was, now it's Stellantis. So we will see, but it looks like Poland will be quite a strong player in vans manufacturing. And then additionally, Ford and Volkswagen sign off the cooperation agreement. Ford is manufacturing in Turkey, Volkswagen is manufacturing in Poland, let's say, vans and commercial vehicles. So we will see what will be the, but probably it will be for both countries quite successful projects. Just one remark to avoid the confusion. The data which are, let's say, picked up by National Statistical Office are a little different than the data which pick up in, let's say, automotive associations or consulting companies. The reason is where some buses or trucks are located, commercial vehicles or not, and so on. So you could see that some small difference in 2019, 650,000 vehicles made according to the left side of the slide. In the right side, you have just on the main manufacturers of cars and vans, which will be 622 close. But there are, of course, other manufacturers of vehicles which are fulfilling the gap. Just a few words about the current 2020 and 21. As probably everybody, the production was impacted by COVID. In fact, when you see the April and May, it was close to the 0 production of cars. The bus production, smaller decrease, but still. In fact, we are quite strong, probably like Turkey. I don't know who is stronger. Maybe Arne can advise me. But there are a few bus manufacturers in Poland, typically manufacturing 6,000 buses per year. Typically, they are big city buses. So Solaris, MAN, Volvo, Scania, and then a few Polish players, Autosans, or Capena, and some bodybuilders. So quite strong representations of different players in bus production in Poland, much better than in car production. So when you see the numbers of Polish automotive export, according, let's say, KPMG and our analysis, it's in 2019 when we have the full data by the different spare parts and different segments. It was 36 billion euro. Different data like statistical office will more report 30 billion euro. The difference is driven by that, for example, let's say automotive players are including tires or automotive glass or automotive batteries inside the automotive, but the statistical office will report that in somewhere in chemical sector or somewhere else. So you can see the share of different, let's say, segments. In fact, more than 30% are cars and vehicles and trucks, but the rest are, let's say, automotive spare parts or engines and so on. So in fact, the growth in Poland, when you see the historical growth, it's still growing. It's driven by automotive suppliers and manufacturers, less by car or trucks manufacturing. Of course, the 2020 was decreased due to the pandemic, but not strong, more than 5%. Of course, for different, let's say, spare parts, it was bigger, closer to 14%, but the growth was coming from batteries. So we have a few manufacturing of electric batteries for cars, and they are growing rapidly. So finally, the growth was just only 5%. The decrease of, let's say, export was by more than 5% of the automotive export. Just showing the size of the companies, because in total, there are more than 900 automotive players manufacturing different parts and accessories, tier 1 up to tier 3, I would say. But from those 900, I would say 222 are companies which are doing business in automotive sector in Poland with annual sales more than 50 million euro. Total, let's say, sales in 2019 is 76 billion euro. So when you will compare with 2016, it was like-for-like growth past 23%. Many players, mainly south of Poland is the most popular, south and west, I would say, but also some big players are in different regions of Poland located. And then I would say League One, so probably around 500 automotive companies have ISO TS, which is a must for big players. So as a chamber, we are preparing the catalog with all, let's say, manufacturers of spare parts and components for automotive industry in Poland. It's not only about the members. So there are, let's say, potentially probably near all players there. 7 languages. So if you are interested in or for searching some companies to cooperate, you can contact the chamber and then we can send the catalog. In fact, the new edition is planned for the second part of the current year, but still is available old edition. So here you have contact details, presentation can be shared with everybody, so you can be in touch if you are interested to look for some player who is relevant for your activity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kobus, for the introduction of the Polish Chamber of Automotive Industry to our participants, as well as your presentation of the automotive sector in Poland. We are grateful for your undertaking about sharing this presentation. Please send it to us, because we, the information, some of the slides were quite busy, and therefore I think people would like really to have a chance to look through them when they have the copy in front of them. Thank you very much for the very informative part. And now I would like to move to the next presentation.
Maybe I will add one more. Maybe I will be in touch with Albert, and I will send a few catalogs to Albert, and then the Tyset can share with all the members the potential cooperation. Yeah.
Now
that would be great. Thank you.
Now I would like to move to Mr. Bartosz Mielecki, the Managing Director of the Polish Automotive Group, for his presentation. Mr. Mielecki, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. It's nice to meet you. Thank you very much for this invitation. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share with you. Welcome all Mr. Ambassador, welcome all the representatives of the institutions, of the organizations, of the companies, to the hosts of this meeting. Thank you very much. Let me briefly present you in the beginning our organization. I am representing Polish Automotive Group. This is another chamber of commerce, but we are also association like a Polish, like PIM, which was introduced before. The Polish Automotive Group is gathering only Polish private suppliers for the automotive industry, only manufacturers, only working, those who are producing something. So what is different from other organizations of similar organizations in Poland is that we are integrating only Polish-owned, Polish capital companies. We are the youngest organizations of this kind in Poland. We've been established 4 years ago. There is around 50 members now in the organization. Of different size, of different specifics. We perceive a variety of competence among our members as a good thing. Since 2019, Polish Automotive Group is certified as a key national cluster, which means that we are recognized by Polish government as a cluster organization, industry cluster, as a well-organized cluster, let's call it this way. In Poland, there is only 13 or 15 organizations possessing this certificate. When talking about numbers, I said that there is 50 companies in our organization. They are all employing over 6,000 employees, almost, well, much more than €500 million annual turnover. Our organization members are experienced, are qualified to be suppliers to aftermarket as well as to original equipment manufacturing. There are no car manufacturers, there are no international corporations, but there are only suppliers. there are those who are who are processing steel components, plastic components, chemicals, textiles, and others. We are integrating them. We are initiating, facilitating their cooperation in order to make the best use of their experience, to inspire each other, to initiate cooperation between them, to make projects together. They can be R&D projects or they can be sales projects. For example, one of the most important projects that we have initiated last year was Export Consortium, where a group of aftermarket suppliers, producer of batteries, producer of filters, producer of air springs, and more. Together they established a new entity, a new company, which is trying to attract new markets with their products, but under one brand, through the same channel. So it makes easier to promote one brand. It's easier to promote a wide offer than having only one brand or only one product. Many brands and many products. It's more expensive. Each company then they need to identify the market, to get to know the market, and it's usually pretty expensive. So we are trying to optimize all the costs and facilitate reaching new customers, new targets, new customers in new markets, distant markets, difficult to reach, not domestic, not European, but more distant, like Africa or Middle East. We are also supporting R&D projects, innovative projects. We are facilitating the companies to use each other's resources, to organize group purchasing and things like that. So we are very much business-oriented, business development-oriented organization. I also should mention that we are also, as a key national cluster, we are also active in relations with public institutions. We are trying to be the voice of Polish automotive suppliers, Polish private companies, usually small and medium enterprises, and represent their voice in relation with the public institutions. So then it makes this voice much stronger. This picture shows a large variety of competence or target customers from our member companies. They are mainly focused on automotive and commercial vehicles production, including buses. But as usual, many of them diversify their customers, and they are also present in agriculture, aviation, and other industries. When talking about our cooperation and our efforts to facilitate their development, we are also looking for new opportunities to identify good partners for our member companies and identify future investors who might be interested in looking for business opportunities in Europe, who are looking for good partners, reliable partners to establish here their production plants or to relocate their production lines, for example, from Asia to Europe because of COVID. Everyone is aware how difficult it's, how many difficulties we could observe, how many broken value chains we could observe. So we find it a good opportunity for us to identify companies who would be interested in transferring technology to Europe, to Poland. We are ready to support value chains. We are ready to support common R&D projects with our companies. And all the services around are also could be of a large value for the potential investors in Poland. So as I said, we can support the supply chain development from Polish, from automotive suppliers from Poland. We can identify partners, we can connect, we can support this cooperation. We can also facilitate common projects, innovative projects, also support obtaining public funding from national funds as well as from European funds, and facilitate commercialization of those projects. Based on that, what I said before is the core of this project, but all the surrounding offer is related to establishing relations with some public institutions, with scientific institutions, supporting relations with and building alliances, and then we can also support this kind of cooperation with training and consulting services. What else? We are fully aware that some customers could be interested in building the greenfield facilities. We are also ready for that. We have experienced architects, experienced companies who can provide good services, good support for that. We also have legal support. They're also cooperating with PGM very much, so they can provide you with good support in tax consultancy, legal consultancy. So all these surrounding services are also of a good support. So we perceive it as a kind of a full service supply, full service support, starting with the investor's idea through the different channels. Of course, they are like puzzles, so what is needed, it can be delivered. It's no need to use everything, but we are ready to facilitate this kind of cooperation between foreign investors and local suppliers and build a common value chain, common cooperation. So this is the team of this project. We call it Polish Automotive Production Hub. We are ready to discuss business opportunities. We are ready to support cooperation. I really appreciate our colleagues from Turkey who offered this kind of job shadowing or networking opportunities. I will share it with my colleagues, with our companies, how they see it, if they are interested. So if you have any more information, I would appreciate to obtain it. If you already have experience, how is it working, I would also like to get it. Thank you very much. Good luck with next presentations, and stay safe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mielecki, for the presentation. Again, I hope that you'll be able to share with us the presentation so we could circulate it to the participants who are interested. I wanted also to inform everyone that we have, during the keynote speeches, we had around 152 participants still actively taking place in this conference. It clearly shows that there is an interest in what we are doing, and I'm looking forward to the B2B meetings of those companies who are participating. Thank you very much for this part, and now I would like to give a floor to Emrah to introduce another segment of the agenda and the moderator for the discussions.
Thank you very much. Before going to the next session, I would like to make an announcement to the participants. You can write your questions if you have to the question and answer session of the panel. And if we have time, we will try to answer a couple of them together with the valuable participants and speakers. So now we are going to the sectoral outlook session. Here I would like to give the word to Mr. Hakan Kefoğlu, who is the International Sales Director of Anadolu Isuzu and also Turkey-Poland Business Council board member. Hakan, you have very important guests, and we are eager to hear their experiences about Turkish and Polish automotive industry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emrah, for the presentation. I would like to wish a very good afternoon to all the participants in this Zoom meeting. And I also would like to thank to the previous speakers for their contributions to this event. It was very remarkable and very fruitful. Now I would like to present our guests to you. The first one would be Mr. Caner Melek. He is the president of commercial group at Norm Holding from Turkey. And hello, Mr. Caner Melek. And we have another participant, Mr. Michal Wisniewski. He is the advisor to the board coming from the Ursus SA company, which is a part of Polmot Holding Group. I also would like to welcome him. Thank you very much for your contributions. Of course, everybody in this meeting room know the value of networking and know the value to know how to do business in a country, in a foreign country. It is very important to be aware with the business culture in this country and also with the industrial networks in your activity area. It is very, very important. And now I would like to start with a short question and also to our participants about their activity areas of their companies, very short and brief information about their companies and what they do in the other country as success story that they will present today to our visitors. Let's start with Mr. Caner Melek. Hello.
Hello for everyone. First of all, I would like to start my words hoping these difficult conditions of COVID-19 epidemic circumstances to come to an end all around the world and all of us to quickly return to our previous precious lives. As the trade group of Norm Holding, our biggest goal had been to compete with our global competitors in the European region by selling various product groups and to increase our customers and product diversity by shipping our products in a short time with the help of a warehouse in a central European location. And one of the first steps of this plan was our facility project in Europe. It has come to life with ST Trading. ST Trading has been found in Poznan, Poland, as a marketing company of Norm Holding, among commercial being on 20 May 2019. In establishment stage, ST trading has been planned to serve the clients by a warehouse with 3,250 pallet capacity in a closed area of 2,500 square meters. There are 2 Turkish staff, and the rest of the staff are native Poland citizens. Our company processes a wide range of products consisting of our own production with known brand and other kind items which are supplied from Far East and local Turkish suppliers as well. In Polish local market, we serve to our customers in following sectors: agriculture, automotive, TR1, 2, and OEM items, construction, furniture, and PVC production. As Norm Holding, when we started our commercial activities in Poland, we started with 5 active Polish customers, which we are already in our trading network. As of now, we are providing service to more than 190 customers with exporting to 11 countries from Poland. What were the main differences with Turkey when we opened the ST trading? Working hours. In Turkey, we work 45 hours, and in Poland, it's 40 hours. Working hours and working days are different, and they have different national holidays in 2 countries. Cultural differences. And what were the main problems we have faced when we are opening the ST? Native language problems, qualified staff shortage, government paperwork. There are quite a few official departments to apply to where there are barely an English speakers. We always lacked support for translation and communication. In addition, it is very important to schedule the residence permits of immigrant staff and work permit procedures. The slowness of the regular affairs in the Polish government, unfortunately, may cause delays. To sum up, in Poland, for the first time, we learned to work for a common purpose with people from a completely different culture in a different geography, and to touch people from a different culture and work in harmony altogether. During this adaptation process, we experienced many bittersweet issues, but we managed to solve them with our long-standing experience and know-how in the industry. As Norm Holding, working with people from different cultures in another geography for a common purpose has recently shown us how important and indispensable adaptation and teamwork are in globalization. Seeing that we have accomplished this in Poland, as I assume, both broadened our horizons for the future and enabled us to look more hopeful for the future. I tried to share some basic issues to the companies that intended to operate abroad based on our experience, and I hope the information we share will be useful to everyone. As a result, if you ask, are we satisfied as Norm Holding opening the branch in Poland? Yes, we are so satisfied, and we reached our target before than we hoped. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Melek. Now I would like to leave the word to Mr. Michael Wisniewski for his company presentation and short information. Thank you. Hello, Mr. Wisniewski.
Hello. Thank you. But it's just a moment, please in the translate.
Now can I be heard? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hello, I'll be translating.
Oh, okay, okay. In translate, okay? For me it's better because in my English is not so good. It's better it's from the translate as my friend.
Do you want me to repeat the question? Do you want me to repeat the question? I think you are getting the translation.
I'm afraid Mr. Wisniewski's presentation is muted and we are not hearing neither the translator.
Okay, okay. Hello, hello?
Yes.
Okay, hello. You, just a moment in the translate. Juliusz? Okej. Dziękuję wszystkim za spotkanie, za zaproszenie na spotkanie. Sorry, przepraszam, że tak powiem, będę mówił po polsku, mam tłumacza do pomocy, żebyśmy, że tak powiem, łatwiej można było skomunikować się. Mariusz, zamknij drzwi. Nasza współpraca z Turcją rozpoczęła się w 2011 roku. Cała przygoda z rynkiem branżowym, czyli tak naprawdę z rynkiem rolniczym.
We are not hearing the translation voice actually. Can we get it higher? A little bit better. Yes. Now perfect. Please repeat it again. We couldn't hear your voice very well.
No problem. Michał wants to greet everyone. He thanks you for the invitation.
Okay.
He says that the entire journey, the entire Turkey-Poland cooperation, in our case, started in 2011.
Rozpoczęliśmy jako współpracę jako Polmot Holding Grupa, gdzie jest jedną ze spółek jest Ursus SA, czyli producent maszyn rolniczych, ciągników i maszyn rolniczych na rynek polski, jak i Unii Europejskiej.
We need the voice again. Yes.
We started the cooperation as Polmot Holding. One of the companies connected with Polmot is Ursus SA. SA deals with tractors and agricultural machines.
That's perfect.
Okay.
What do you do in Turkey also?
Już w pierwszych etapach nasza współpraca opierała się na kooperacji z firmą produkującą kompletne ciągniki, jak i również i podzespoły do ciągników.
Sorry to interrupt. The voice of the interpreter is too low, therefore we cannot translate into Turkish. Is there any way that we can find another solution? Maybe higher the voice of the interpreter? Because our interpreters can't hear him. So that's why we cannot translate it to Turkish for our audience. Maybe if the translator can come next to you, Mr. Wisniewski.
We are in a... Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Is better?
No, I'm sorry, it's too low. It's even too low for us and too low for the interpreters.
Hello, hello? You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but not the interpreter.
Not translate.
Dariusz, maybe it will be good if one of our Polish participants will translate, because the translator we cannot hear. Can I ask you to help us, or somebody from our Polish panelists to help us?
Emrah, I will be delighted to act as an interpreter. I think that's perhaps the easiest instead of finding someone now. Mr. Wiśniewski, could you please continue, and I will try to do my job the best I could. Bardzo proszę, panie Wiśniewski, czy może pan zacząć od początku?
Przepraszam za zamieszanie przede wszystkim, bo tak powiem, no, mieliśmy tu z tłumaczem lekki problem. Niestety może technologia trochę zawiodła.
Okay. Tylko poproszę od początku, bo naprawdę ludzie nie słyszeli.
Okej, to jeszcze raz. Dzień dobry, witam wszystkich w imieniu grupy Polmot Holding. Dziękuję za zaproszenie.
I would like to welcome everyone on behalf of Polmot Holding, and I am grateful for the invitation to speak at this event.
Reprezentuję grupę Polmot Holding, w skład której wchodzi firma Ursus, zajmująca się produkcją maszyn, ciągników i maszyn rolniczych.
I am representing the group Polmot Holding, which part is also Ursus SA, which is manufacturer of tractors and agricultural machinery.
Nasza współpraca z rynkiem, z firmami z rynku tureckiego zaczęła się tak naprawdę w 2010-2011 roku, gdzie podpisaliśmy pierwsze umowy z firmą Hatat, która zajmuje się Hatat Group.
Przepraszam, że będę przerywał na krótsze.
Okej, przepraszam.
Trudno tłumaczyć. Our cooperation on the Turkish market started w którym roku, przepraszam?
W 10 możemy przyjąć.
In 2010, when we started cooperation with the Turkish entity Haka.
Współpraca opierała się w pierwszej części na imporcie kompletnych ciągników.
Imporcie to znaczy państwo importowaliście?
Tak, kupowaliśmy ciągniki produkowane w Turcji.
Started with the importation by us of tractors from Turkey.
Traktory, jak również części zamienne.
All the spare parts for tractors.
Exactly. Następnie cały, że tak powiem, nasz rozwój w naszej firmy oparliśmy na podzespołach, które również ta firma produkuje, czyli układy napędowe, jak również inne elementy ciągnika.
Subsequently, we base our cooperation and growth of the relationship on the various spare parts and construction elements of tractors which are being manufactured by the company.
W tym momencie mieliśmy uzupełnioną już staraliśmy się tak naprawdę zapełnić cały przedział mocy ciągników dzięki tak naprawdę współpracy z kontrahentem Turcji. Mieliśmy począwszy od małych ciągników do dużych ciągników przy ich udziale na kluczowych częściach, czyli układach napędowych.
Okay. Thanks to that cooperation, we're able to cover the whole spectrum of tractors from small to big ones. And this cooperation was based also on the provision by the Turkish parties of the engineering parts, the elements of engines for tractors.
W tamtym okresie, w tej chwili, że tak powiem, w związku z różnymi dotacjami unijnymi, oczywiście w tej chwili z tą pandemią od półtora roku, która jest, znacznie ten rynek w Polsce się zmienił.
Because of the pandemic, this market in Poland has changed.
Natomiast na ówczesne czasy, czyli tak jak zaczęliśmy tą współpracę, rynek polski w maszynach i ciągnikach rolniczych to był na poziomie 20 000 sztuk rocznie.
But at the time we started our cooperation, the market was very buoyant and was around 20,000 tractors a year.
W tamtym okresie współpracy z kontrahentem byliśmy w stanie tak naprawdę na polski rynek, na podzespołach z kontrahentem tureckim, jak i również na ich modelach około 3,5 tysiąca rocznie ciągników sprzedawać. Czyli tak naprawdę byliśmy ponad 10% rynku opartego przy współpracy z kontrahentem z Turcji.
Okay, thanks to the elements of tractors purchased from the Turkish partner, we're able to produce over 3,000 tractors a year and sell them on the Polish market, which gave us in access of 10% of the then existing market for tractor supply in Poland.
Z punktu widzenia spółki Ursus, rynek turecki jest bardzo dużym rynkiem rolniczym.
From the perspective of Ursus, the Turkish market is very big from the agricultural perspective.
Dużo firm europejskich, wiemy, że mają firmy produkujące, co ten świat dla nas się przekłada tym, że jest dostępność części, jak i cena, jakość i w stosunku cena do stosunku do jakości jest adekwatna, jest bardzo dobry dostęp do tego.
Because there are many agricultural manufacturers in Europe, this is a huge market for parts and elements of tractors in the whole Europe, and this is a very good market from that perspective. There is a big demand for such spare parts.
Co prawda, tak jak przedmówca mówił, że zasady współpracy troszkę się różnią między Polską a Turcją, aczkolwiek nie jest to zbytnio utrudnia, tak jak Pan mówił, że tam są różne dni świąt, dni wolne, tego typu rzeczy. Natomiast na współpracę tak naprawdę z naszej strony niewiele to wpływa.
Of course, although there are differences between the Turkish and Polish markets, including days of holidays and other things, nevertheless, in the view of Mr. Wiśniewski, it has a very little impact on the cooperation and the work together.
Ponieważ rolnictwo jest bardzo zbliżone, czy to w Polsce i w Turcji, kwestia tak naprawdę tylko i wyłącznie specyfikacji maszyn, które są dodatkowo dołączone do uprawy, które się stwarza. Natomiast cały proces, czyli to, co jest, dokładnie wygląda tak samo jak i w Polsce, jak i w Turcji.
Again, from Mr. Wiśniewski's perspective, the agriculture in Poland and in Turkey are very similar in terms of the machinery. Of course, some additional particular equipment for particular crops may be different. Nevertheless, the main system of agriculture equipment and tractors is the same.
Na pewno zazdrościmy rynkowi tureckiemu ilości sprzedawanych ciągników i produkowanych. Przemysł w Turcji jest bardzo mocno rozwiniętym, tak jak mówię, biorąc doświadczenie naszego pod względem branży rolniczej.
We admire and a bit envy the scale of the Turkish agricultural sector operations and the manufacturing equipment in that field. Of course, it's a bigger economy from that perspective.
Chyba wszystko, że tak powiem, z mojej strony.
I think these were the comments of Mr. Wiśniewski in respect of this company operations in Poland. Of course, he'll be able to take questions during the questions and answer session. Powiedziałem, że Pan również będzie gotowy odpowiedzieć.
Tak, jak najbardziej. Postaram się tak poprawić tu i w języku angielskim, żeby tu to poprawić, można było odpowiadać.
Again, Mr. Wiśniewski is thankful for your attention.
Dziękuję bardzo dziękuję przede wszystkim za pomoc. I przepraszam za problemy związane tu z łącznością.
It was a pleasure for me to translate, no problem.
Dziękuję bardzo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wiśniewski, for the information you shared, and thank you very much, Dariusz, for your help. But I want your help once again. I look at the question and answer session. There is one question for us. Is there any financial or tax incentive to electric vehicle manufacturers as support for the charging infrastructure in Poland? There is a question from one of the participants. Would you guide this question to somebody in Poland?
Thank you.
Can answer. If you don't have the answer now, we can also report back.
Yeah. I've already passed the question to some colleagues to look at, but I haven't got the feedback yet. But okay. I don't know, maybe Mr. Kobus or Mr. Mielecki, or maybe even Mr. Wiśniewski, if they have some ideas as to the financial or tax incentives related to
charging infrastructure for the electric vehicle manufacturers.
Of building of the charging infrastructure in Poland. You should know that this was a significant issue early on, because the network of charging outlets in Poland was quite small, although over the last few years it expanded quite substantially. I think also the vehicles are making applications which allow for charging in your own domestic locations, houses or other places. However, initially the charging was for free, whereas now I believe the gas stations and other outlets are starting to charge for power you put into your vehicle. But this is just my layman comment, and I hope that someone from the industry or from the presenters would be able to comment. If there are people who would like to say, please raise your hand or start speaking. If not, we could perhaps pose the question and answer it a bit later.
Maybe I will comment. In fact, there are a few different topics. So far, the regulation and subsidies from government were not very successful. But there is the new act under preparation, which will come into force. So in principle, there are subsidies to build the infrastructure possible. Very complex regulation and so on. So we have no time to discuss, and then you have to go to the details. Especially additionally, there will be different tariff for energy cost for charging points. Of course, Poland has to deliver a number of charging points according to the European Union directive. But the progress is, I would say, comparing to West European countries, quite slow. That is why the subsidies should help. So far, the number of electric vehicles is low. So far, the activity was not a big success for the players who build the infrastructure. Yeah. So it will come. Quite complex, but possible to develop. Different stories if somebody would like to develop the all, let's say, electric vehicles, starting from batteries or different systems and so on. There's plenty of, let's say, European funds everywhere from R&D or investing in Poland also. The best agents to support this kind of direct investment will be the Polish agency. Investment and trade, Supplier. So any potential investor should contact them, and they will drive them by, let's say, step by step, and then deliver them all information required, including the possible benefits, and then even finding the sites and location. So investment inside the Poland by regulation about the subsidizing the building of charging infrastructures, quite complex and changing now.
Okay, thank you very much. So we are coming to the end of our first session before the B2B session. Dariusz, I would like to give the word to you for closing remarks, and then we will be announcing the B2B session.
Thank you very much. And I just wanted to maybe, because first I would like to thank you, Mr. Kobus, for answering the question. But I have seen that the internet connection at times was not so great. His face was frozen and some of the voice was garbled. Therefore, maybe I just would like to sum up one element, that there are some incentives in place related to building such networks, and any potential person or investor should contact the Polish Investment and Trade Agency, which is an agency in charge of this type of projects, and perhaps get more specific information. And Emrah, also, if there is a particular person who was asking this question, maybe you could direct this to Mrs. Nowakowska or to me, and I'll put it forward to the right person so that the answer could be fully provided. Okay? And in terms of the closing remarks, again, I wanted to say that I am grateful to the participants who participated in this event. Clearly, the number of people who not only registered, but ultimately participated in the webinar is very big. especially if you take into account that people are getting now a bit tired of these presentations and FaceTime and other webinars, especially in addition to their normal professional jobs. I would like again to thank you very much to our distinguished guest, His Excellency Ambassador Kumo, and Deputy Head of Mission, Mr. Abaci. Also, I would like very much to thank you, people who have helped to put this event into life. Yourself, Emrah, thank you very much, as well as Nil Sarepte for her help with all of the technical elements of this event. On the Polish side, I would like to very much to thank you, Ambassador Jerzy Droszcz and Director Marek Nowakowski, the President of the Turkish Polish Chamber of Commerce, as well as Mrs. Maria Nowakowska, who was helping on the Polish side to put this event together. I wish all of the participants from the Turkish and Polish side successful discussions into B2B meetings, and more importantly, that indeed some business and relationship will be generated from these meetings. And finally, also I wanted to say that this was only the very first from the series of interconnected business which both Turkish Polish Chamber Business Council and the Polish Turkish Business Council are trying or will be trying to organize in future. Thank you again, and now Emrah, back to you.
Thank you very much, Dariusz. I've shared the same feelings with you. I would like to thank also all the distinguished speakers, panelists for their participation and for the information that they share with us. Like you said, this is the first trial of the interconnected business series, and I think it got the interest that we were expecting. So we should continue this kind of focused sectoral discussions, events for the future as well. Now I would like to make an announcement for the participants who will be joining the B2B session. It is starting now, and the Zoom links of the B2B rooms were sent to you yesterday to your email address. Please make sure that you connect via these links, and I wish all the companies successful business meetings. Thank you very much for all the participants, and I wish you healthy and successful days for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.